I know the chapter on the participles was pretty in-depth, and it can be somewhat confusing, especially to a beginner. I mean, the standard way to translate a participle is to put ing under the end of the verb, right? Well, what about all those other uses of the participle? When do you know to use them? Well, as always, the answer is context. As someone once said, context is king. And 1 Timothy 4:4 gives you a really good example of when you know that the ing doesn't work and you have to pull out your little yellow cheat sheet or laminated sheet from Greek for the rest of us and scan down and try to figure out what kind of participle this is. Paul has been arguing against the false teachers in Ephesus who are ascetics, except when it comes to drink, and then they're drunks. A little inconsistency there, but they were saying, among other things, there are certain foods you shouldn't eat. And so Paul is arguing that if you can take the food with thanksgiving, you should be able to eat it. And here's the ultimate reason why. He says, because all the creation of God, so everything God has created, understood is good, a predicate adjective, and nothing is, another predicate adjective, is unclean, then here's the phrase, with thanksgiving receiving. So if you're just translating along and you say, okay, because everything God created is good and nothing is to be rejected, receiving with thanksgiving. Okay, there's the clue that this is one of those special uses of the participle, simply because translating receiving with thanksgiving doesn't make any sense. So you scan down the sheet and you see that one of the uses of a participle is to indicate a conditional idea, the idea of if. So it's not to be rejected if it is received with thanksgiving. That's not adding to the biblical text. That's simply one of the ways in which Greek participles is used. So you can see the NIV, if it is received with thanksgiving, NASB, if it is received, ESV, if it is received, CSB, if, get the idea, if it is received. NRSV says, provided it is received, which is kind of interesting. Net Bible also is, if it is received. The NLT does something I'm not really crazy about, that we should not reject any of it, but receive it with thanks. And that's not the point. The point is that this is not the flip side of the coin. The point is that this is one of the conditions under which we know that something's not to be rejected. If with good Christian conscience, if you can receive it with thanksgiving, then you can know that it shouldn't be rejected. But this is a real nice, simple illustration of how you know whether it's a different mood or whether it's one of the uses of the tenses. If the default translation doesn't work, then you have to look for one of the alternate uses of that particular word.